All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special guest. You see him on NBC Washington, 1067 The Fan, YouTube, Instagram, dropping hot, fresh news on Twitter about the Commanders. It's JP Finlay. Welcome to the show, JP.
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. So I just wanted to explain kind of why I wanted to do this and why now. Just because we get to see you on TV, podcasts, all that stuff, but we don't really get to hear too much just about you. And you do so much for us and the fans that I just wanted to give back, and hopefully this will help more fans get to know you better. So when they see you, they just feel like they know you a little bit better. And then after that, um, basically, right now, the Commanders. We could sit here and talk about the Commanders all day, but in my opinion, it's all up to speculation right now because is is Josh Harris going to be the savior of the team of the franchise? Is uh, Adam Peters, is he going to be a drafting wizard? We don't know that yet. What we can do is look at the offseason and see like how many people we picked up. And in my opinion, we're doing something that we haven't done in a long time, which is create a real competition in training camp with all these new people. Is that kind of the gist you're getting?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a complete overhaul entirely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, especially we're 2 weeks out from the draft. There's going to be so many rumors and reports and sources, and I would just stress people to be really careful with kind of what you buy into. And try not to live and die with everything. Like we'll go Jim Zorn. Just stay medium till draft night, man.
Okay. Well, so since we're pressed for time here, first of all, I just want to say, I feel like a lot of fans really like you because you're relatable. You seem like you feel our pain, and you can kind of push that to people that we can't tell that to. You ask hard questions at times when they need to be asked. I'm pretty sure it was you asking Ron Rivera. You were like, hey, you said judge us in a year 4, right? Well, it's year 4, so like you will do stuff like that. So I think that's why fans really like you. But since we're pressed for time, let me get into some.
I don't mean to press you for time, dude. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So on your Twitter, it says you're from DC, correct?
Yeah.
So you were a Redskins fan growing up, or Washington fan?
I was a Skins fan, major.
All right, cool, yeah.
Huge. I've said this before. So I lived in Tacoma Park, and then my parents split up, and I lived in North Carolina for a couple of years when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, and then moved back to DC. And I was in 4th grade. I'm blanking right now. It was either 4th or 5th grade when they won the Super Bowl, the 91 Super Bowl. And I truly think that like framed my life. Like, I don't think I'm here.
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened. I got to go to 7 out of 8 home games that year. My dad owned a bar. At that stage, he was just a bartender, but like, bartenders tend to get tickets. And it was awesome, man. And it totally shaped my life and impacted me in a major way. And then, honestly, after that Super Bowl, Gibbs stayed another year. They made the playoffs again. Then Gibbs stepped down surprisingly, and they fell apart.
Yeah.
You're probably too young, but they fell way apart. Then they had a good year in 99. Then Dan took over and blew everything up, and it's just been a disaster for 25 years. So it feels, in my professional life has kind of changed straight up being a fan of the team, but like I care dramatically about this area and my friends and family, and you know what I mean? Like, so we're all kind of in it together in a lot of ways. And with Dan, they just never had a chance to actually win on a consistent, meaningful level. And we don't know that they will get there, but at least it's possible again. It's possible.
It's unknown now, but it's a more beautiful unknown than what we had before. So
totally.
So what age did you know that you're going to want to do stuff with sports or journalism?
I always liked writing. What's weird to me now, and I don't write like I should, but I just don't have any time. Writing was always like my driving force. And now it's just, things are so different with YouTube and podcasts and everything. But I used to get in trouble. It had to be, so they won the Super Bowl in 5th grade. Because I remember in 6th grade at Westland Middle School, I got in trouble because we had to write a weekly essay for Miss Gerard's class. And and I wrote my essay every week about the Skins. And I remember Darryl Green had a broken arm and shut down Michael Irvin. I want to say it was a Thanksgiving Day game, but it was like a late fall game. And I remember I wrote my essay about that, and she yelled at me. She's like, "Listen, no more essays about the Redskins. You've got to write about something else." And that was 6th grade, and eventually got to high school. Was on the high school newspaper. Got to college and was kind of just like a stoner partier and just didn't really focus. But eventually got my act together and went back to school, which is arguably worthless now in the age of social media and stuff. Like, if you can just build an audience, you don't have to worry about, I think there's some journalistic integrity stuff you should care about, but fewer people care about that. And I just kind of grinded. I moved back to North Carolina for a year to get a job, and I was making $22,000 a year in Wilmington, North Carolina in 2010. So just kind of worked my way up.
Sweet. Well, for other young people out there, what is a one tip or advice you could give them if they want to like follow in your footsteps and do stuff with sports or journalism?
Build your audience. There's zero barrier to entry, man. And I'm a firm believer in writing being just so important. Like, maybe I'm different because I'm older than you for sure, but like,
a little bit.
Like, if I'm going to consume a piece of content on my phone, I like reading, and I feel like it's way more time effective. Am I going to sit down and watch an 8-minute video of some dude I've never heard of, or will I at least be more willing to read 600 words on why he thinks, Jamin Davis is going to break out this year with Bobby Wagner? Like, I can do one in 2 minutes on my own time. The other, I got to get headphones. I think people are, because it's zero barrier to entry, I think people are so quick to try to build out their YouTube channel or TikTok or whatever, and I think they're forgetting the value of writing.
Gotcha.
That might be old man yelling at clouds. I don't know. But start today, start immediately, build it, and don't get sucked into the hot take industrial complex.
Just following the same path everyone else does. Is that where
Be off. The biggest thing for me that was very different is that I remained kind of just authentic to myself. I don't put on a different voice for the radio or a different voice for TV. Like, I call the governor dude because that's just how I talk. Like, you just be yourself, and if people want to hear what you have to say, they'll follow.
Gotcha. Cool. So did you play any sports growing up?
Sorry.
It's okay.
So we're actually launching. It's the first night for these Wizards alternate broadcasts. So I'm actually at the Monumental Studios.
Okay.
That's why I'm kind of tighter on time than I thought, because we had to tape a bunch of stuff. I played sports. I played all kinds of sports. I wasn't very good. I played football in high school. I played JV basketball. I played some soccer. Basketball's probably my best sport. At this stage, I'm probably best at like racket sports, like tennis and stuff.
Yeah. What about golf? Are you a golfer?
I'm a golfer. I'm just not very good. I'm a 15 handicap, so people can assault that all they want. I can play a little bit. I'm streaky, and I hit the driver well, but I can't get out of the sand.
Gotcha. So who have you ever interviewed or met before doing your job where afterwards you're like, wow, I cannot believe I just met that guy?
One of the coolest moments in my life, in my career,
Yeah.
was at the Super Bowl when the Patriots beat the Rams. If you remember, it was a pretty boring Super Bowl. It was like Jared Goff, Tom Brady, that Super Bowl. That week, we were doing shows live from Radio Row, and it was me and B, and we got Joe Gibbs to join us. And this was about 10 days or so after Coach Gibbs had lost one of his sons, which I think tragically he's now lost two. But and Coach Gibbs sat down with us, and of course he has a relationship with Brian, but he actually remembered me, and we chatted for a second. It was, the two like sports heroes of my life are Joe Gibbs and Gary Williams, right?
Yeah.
And to sit with B and then Gibbs, and then Mark Schlereth just happened to walk by, and he saw Coach Gibbs and BMitch, and he just sat down.
Yeah, just butted in.
Yeah. And at that table, You've got 7 Super Bowl rings, right?
Yeah.
Schler's got 3, B's got 1, Gibbs has 3. And what really was special is Coach Gibbs was supposed to go to Joel Osteen's show, which, a lot of people are familiar with it, but he's like a motivational religious speaker, I think. Is
I
the
don't know.
right way to describe him? But he's huge. I mean, just a massive following. And Gibbs's PR guy had told me, like, hey, we got a hard out at whatever it was, 11:45. And so it gets to like 11:42, and I'm kind of looking at him like, and he's like, just keep going. And he texted me because I was able to like read text on my computer. He's like, this is therapeutic for him. Just keep going. And we sat there for like 35 minutes or something. And it was really cool. And another moment that is kind of embarrassing, frankly, was I love Al Michaels. I think you can argue if he is at his best anymore, but I think his best is the best ever.
Yeah, he's a staple.
Yeah, and I met Al Michaels at a Super Bowl event, and the audio of this exists somewhere, and I just could not speak. And I tried to do this interview with Al, and at the end, I said, thank you so much. Have a great broadcast. I was trying to say
we've all done stuff like that, man. Yeah. We've all done stuff like that. That's the stuff that keeps you up at night. You know what I mean? So what's the best football game you've ever seen in person?
Ooh. The best Skins game I've ever seen in person is sadly not going to be the best game I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But in the 91 season, they played the Oilers. I believe both teams were 7-0. And Al Del Greco, if I recall, was the Oilers kicker and missed a chippy to win it in regulation. They went to overtime, and the Skins won in overtime. I remember that game vividly. And that was 2 really good teams that were both Super Bowl contenders, Warren Moon for the Oilers. That or Week 17, 2012 with Robert and Alfred going for 2 bills. I mean, that was
who did they play that game?
Cowboys.
Okay, so I was just about to say my favorite game I've ever seen was 2012 when we played the Ravens at home. Yeah, and I always hear about the old stadium shaking and rocking. That place was rocking, and unfortunately, it's a bad game where Robert gets hurt. But Kurt comes in, runs the same stuff that they would call with RG3, goes right up the middle for the extra point, I think. And then when the punt return sets up the game. Yet again, unfortunately, that's the best game I've ever been to. But hopefully we're gonna get back to that. So
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah. Well, I'm an Orioles fan, man, and look how quick we turned this around. I mean, 3 seasons ago we were lost 100 games, and now we're one of the scariest teams. So my life would be complete if both the Commanders and the Orioles were just wrecking shit, dude.
Well, I mean, the ownership changes for both are fairly comparable and incredibly important. So yeah, I'm with you. I root for the O's.
So what's one? I know it's hard to pick one. So what's one of your favorite movies?
Movies. Top of my head, I love White Men Can't Jump.
Oh man, it's been a while since they made a remake to that. I have no interest in watching it. But sorry to cut you off.
I love it's a movie called Out of Sight with George Clooney and J-Lo that I love. I love Hoosiers. I'm a sucker for Hoosiers. I'm trying to think, man. This is a good question.
I know it's hard. That's why I said I'm not going to say pick one. Pick just whatever comes to the.
I have if The Godfather's on, I've found myself staying up way too late to watch it. Same with Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Swingers, I thought was great. I'm trying to think if there's anything more recently that I really enjoyed. Not one of my favorites ever, but I saw that movie American Fiction, and it was far different from what I expected, and I really liked it. I don't know. There's a bunch.
Well, there's some in there that I'm going to have to go back and write down because I haven't seen some of those.
We're old, dude.
Yeah. What's your favorite beer?
I mean,
I'm just here with the hard questions,
Yeah, no, at this point in my life, like, I mean, these are just basic AF answers. But I'm old, dude, and the beer just sits on your gut. So
Yeah.
The beer I order most at this stage of my life is probably a Coors Light.
Yeah.
But I like
it's easy to drink and doesn't seem like filling you up like you said.
I like a Blue Moon. I like
Yeah.
Optimal Wit is a local from Alexandria that I like. I used to really like all the IPAs, and I still do, and especially like kind of the juicy hazy ones. I really like them. But one, they fill you up, like you feel kind of bloated. Two, they kind of get you wrecked when you're not really like. If I'm drinking a beer, I'm trying to pace myself.
Yeah,
and I've heard they give you man boobs, so I've tried to stay away from. I don't know that that's true, but I've heard it.
Definitely the gut thing for IPAs for sure.
Yeah.
So this is a little fun one. How more jolly can you get, JP? You know what I'm talking about?
That's Brie, right?
Yeah, that's why I first talked to you on Twitter about it. And you know, right before this, I went looking for that clip. I went looking for that clip, and I cannot find it.
Santa Claus riding the bike, man. How more jolly can you get right now?
How more jolly can you get?
Yeah, boy, you know what I'm saying? They going to the corner store.
First, I don't know why I cannot find it.
I don't know either.
So just to give everyone else at home a little context, I guess it was the 2016 season where we were going to the playoffs. Did we just beat Dallas maybe at home or something like that? And I don't know if it was Dallas or who we beat.
Because it would have been earlier, dude. Because that the Week 17 game. So you're talking about the Kirk. Yeah, maybe because
it was about to be Christmas, right?
They clinched that, but I don't think they had clinched yet. But yes, it was right before Christmas.
So right after the game, and yet again, Bashar Breeland on its channel, I've said so many times, I love that dude. Went on to win a Super Bowl, so there's that. And he was one year he was like
an interception in the Super Bowl,
and 1 year for us, he was the best like run defending corner. Like he just was big, physical. Like I just love that guy as well. So that's why I remember this so much too. But after the game, JP's interviewing him, and he's like, just sitting there talking to him about the game, and he's wearing this sweatshirt or sweater that's just like got. Do you remember it has?
It was in the locker room. It wasn't at their game. It was in Ashburn.
Okay.
And it was a sweater, like a needlepoint sweater, and it had Jesus and Santa Claus on a two-person bicycle.
Yeah, they're like a tandem bike. Yeah.
And I did like a whole 5 minutes on it.
And
I also knew Bree really well, and he and I always joked around, and he was just hysterical. How much more jolly can you get? They're going to the corner store.
They're going to the corner store. That's what cracked me up too. So my question to you is just, why is it? I remember that really fondly, but every time I bring it up to you on Twitter, you're like, dude, that takes me back, whatever. Like, what about it was it just that because we were having a good season, everything was as jolly as it could get? Like, what about that makes you remember that so fondly?
That's a great question, man. And honestly, the best part of my job is getting to know the players beyond, like the surface level, and just knowing Bree and how funny he was, and his corner of the locker room was just characters. And like those fun moments, there's nothing like it. Like when you hear, like a lot of times fans will be like, oh, why didn't he just retire? Why didn't he just retire? Those guys hold on till the end, and sure, the money's good. But I mean, did you play sports in high school? There's no more fun feeling than being in the locker room.
Just being a part of a team. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. And not that we're part of that, and sometimes we're like invasive, but like sometimes when you really do the job, when you're really on the beat, you're there so much that like
it just rubs off on you. You're
not on the team, but like they know when we're just chatting and BSing versus I'm asking you official questions. And it was just, it also like it was a different time for me personally. Like, I look back on that now. I got 2 kids and moved. It's just different.
Yeah. All right. So we're approaching 20 minutes here. I'm going to try to rattle off these real fast. Have you ever been to a DC Defenders game?
Yes.
Well, it was fun, was it not?
Yeah, it was fun. I'll go again. It's just hard with little kids, man. I got like activities every weekend.
So this is from Mike in my Discord. Shout out to the Redskins Review Discord. He says, do you think that the Commanders will change their name again?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, didn't I hear Josh Harris before say he was thinking about it? I don't know if I can't recall for sure.
I don't think he's ever officially said that.
Okay.
And now their official line makes sense. They're like, we got a lot to deal with, but I think they change it.
All right. Well, I'll hit you with one last one, and we'll get you out of here.
I might get in
do
trouble.
you do you believe in ghosts? I know I said no trick questions on here, but I had to throw in a random one there.
I mean this the best possible way, right?
Yeah.
When people come up to you and they're like, "Yo, I got to tell you something, but you can't tell anybody."
Yeah.
I tell them, "Don't tell me." Like,
I got you. Yeah, you don't want that burden on you, or
right. When we watch a show, my wife will like Google the spoilers, so she knows everything that's going to happen. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So do I believe in ghosts? I don't really think about.
Yeah. Until.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
I won't say that I don't, but I won't say that
until you've encountered it personally. That's how I feel as well.
If somebody believes in them, terrific. If somebody doesn't, fine.
But see, that's the reason why I asked you this is just because what about, have you ever seen an alien before? Or
No.
just something you can't explain? So sometimes people just have these experiences.
Throw that interception in 2017. Couldn't explain that.
Or when he took a knee.
There's actually a story there.
But man, Kirk's my guy, man. I love that guy. I mean, so one last one I'm gonna squeak in there. What's worse, paying the defensive tackle that we paid all that money? His name's escaping me, Albert Hainsworth, or letting Kirk Cousins go without getting anything for him? Which one's worse?
Probably Kirk, because it was an asset. They botched both of them, but Kirk, you at least could have gotten something in return. I'm going to get killed. I have to run.
All right, man. All right. Appreciate it.
This.
Yeah.
I'll share it and everything.
Yep. I'll talk to you later, man. Have a good one. Peace.
Take care.
Yep.
How much more jolly can you get?
How much more jolly can you get?